Hello, I'm Annie Sloan.
And I'm Tristan Merriam.
And this is The Colourist,
a podcast about colour and its influence on our lives. I'm going to clear my throat now. Got to get this right. Orpiment, fumaroles, hydrothermal veins, poison. Annie, am I on the right podcast here? What on earth are we talking about this week?
It's about Satan and about bad things.
Oh, lovely. These are all things from your notes that you send me prior to recording.
Yeah.
And I'm reading it going,
why?
Right, okay. All of this like crazy stuff, but it's all linked to English yellow.
Yeah.
Which does not sound
No.
anyway.
But unfortunately,
awful.
It does start with sulphur and
I love
volcanoes
it, though.
and really poisonous stuff. And it made this beautiful, beautiful yellow.
Right, tell us more about the history of the yellow before, the lovely English yellow came along.
Well,
Because I was fascinated when I read this. I thought, okay, right, yeah, I'm with it. And it was used as a poison and on fly tip to tip arrows as a fly or insect repellent. What was it about?
Well,
the mineral or the...
It was sulphur, basically. And really, sadly, the people who were using this to paint and make a pigment, I mean, it
dangerous
was...
thing to do and dangerous hobby.
Certain death, I think.
Absolutely.
So, but...
Would someone have certain death if they use your English yellow?
Absolutely not.
Good. So we are saying it is a safe and joyful colour to use.
Absolutely.
There is no worry of poisoning or anything. No. But I love that it originated from such a dangerous place.
Yeah.
It's quite exciting, I think.
And venerated too as a colour, because in China, the empress wore, the most important people wore this incredible imperial yellow.
Mm-hmm.
And also they would use it to make lacquerware, because actually this orpiment was this incredible stone pigment or
thing, mineral.
Yeah, that's the word.
That's the word.
It went from, like all of these, would go from a bright clear yellow to quite an orangey, intense yellowy orange colour. Mm-hmm. So you would get incredible, beautiful lacquerware done in this.
And was it associated, in its early days of having links with poison and repellents and all of these things and danger? Was it used as a colour in the early days to sort of replicate that danger? Did people wear it to show strength or to sort of ward off enemies? Was it used in that way, or was it just a complete coincidence that the actual pigments and the minerals...
I don't think they cared.
Okay.
The fact that this would be... it was first used in China, and, it would just be a very rare, wonderful pigment, and they probably didn't realise how poisonous it was.
No, oh gosh, that was the downside of using it. But it was rare, you say,
yes.
And it was often, as it was rare, it was therefore worn or used by people in authority with power. So it was seen as quite a powerful, rich colour.
Important colour, yes. And it would have been sent to the West and used in all sorts of things in certain ways, and very special, because it was a beautiful clear yellow. Interestingly, can we go back to that later on? There are connections with bad things, or not
more
bad
things,
naughty things.
Naughty, excellent.
With the yellow, but that was not until.
Well, that's a good teaser to get people
20th.
to listen right to the very end. As a colour, then, talk about your colour being English yellow and the colour we're talking about today, which is a similar colour to that. Describe it as a colour.
It's a very, very bright, clear yellow, and it's slightly towards the green. It's not towards the orange. And that was the point about it. It didn't go towards the orange and was often used, maybe with a little bit of white in it, to be a background which was clear and light and beautiful. And when I first saw that sort of colour and that sort of idea was on the back of hand-painted Chinese wallpaper.
It always comes back to Chinese influence. I mean, the amount of episodes we've done, and no matter the colour, well, obviously not all the colours, but so many things originate in China from these dynasties, and
yes.
I don't know why that is.
Well, it comes from China. It's from Britain was bringing stuff in.
Just very clever colour people.
Yes, and they were bringing stuff in via the East India Company, and they had everywhere. But this would have been coming in quite early, but 16th century again, actually. Yeah, 17th century. East India Company. They're the answer to everything. They weren't very nice. But anyway, that's another story.
That's another one. So English yellow how long has this colour been around as a chalk paint? Was it here in the early days?
It was my second lot of colours.
Okay.
So I think it was colour number 21. And it was, so my first lot of colours were all the sort of more muted traditional colours, and this came out as a second colour, and I called it sort of modern colours.
Yeah.
In fact, it's very old, but
yes,
it's part of, something that probably the Impressionists would have used, something bright and probably a bit
Very
more cadmium,
bright.
and that sort of thing.
Okay. And why did you call it I know we're going to get on to all of the stuff we're talking about, but I just would like to know, in light of the information sharing of the poisons and the hydrothermal veins and all of this stuff and the toxic fumes, why did you call it English yellow?
It comes from seeing all these beautiful houses. I used to go to a lot of the National Trust houses and go around, and there were a couple of them where you'd see these absolutely beautiful wallpapers, hand-painted wallpapers, your big rooms, and utterly gorgeous. So Belton House was one, and Belton House has a room which is a bedroom, and it's all painted. You enter, it's like entering yellow. It's just beautiful. And these Chinese long panels making a big image, but all with a background of yellow.
Interesting. And would you say entering a yellow room, how does that make you feel? It's quite an optimistic colour? It's a happy colour?
Absolutely amazing. Absolutely wonderful. And I think it's the joy of that colour was just so beautiful and what I thought was very, very English. The hand-painted wallpaper was actually all over Europe. And I tried to find out if that yellow colour was other places. I don't remember seeing it in other countries, but then looking it up, it does seem as it was other places. So I'm probably wrong. But I do remember meeting people. I used to, go to Europe a lot, and I would talk about the colours of Europe and the colours of England. Were they similar or different? I was always talking about things like that to find out, a little bit of knowledge about what England was. And I remember a lot of people would say, "Oh, England, you love yellow." And I remember thinking, really? I'm not sure if that's true.
No, but that's...
And so English yellow, and it may be because they thought that England was grey and that we loved yellow because it gave light to it, the same as Germany or the Netherlands. It's the same sort of weather.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's a very positive, joyful colour.
I think so.
It really is. You don't actually see a lot of yellow in interiors, I don't think.
No.
I think it's a colour that people are maybe quite scared of because it is very bright.
Yeah.
It's light, but it's bright.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll change people's perception on that through this episode.
I did used to do a bright yellow wall paint because I just love it. But people are too scared of it, and they've just...
Scary colour.
Yeah, but it is absolutely incredible.
It is, and we've got this amazing vase. Again, sorry, we're sort of skipping around a bit. We will get on to the main content of the episode, but it's staring at me in the face, so we've got to acknowledge it. It's this incredible vase here, and I think it's relevant to talk about now because it obviously is yellow. The main bulk of it is yellow, but it's not scary because it's combined with the white and kind of a charcoaly, browny, grey, black colour. So it
and this is quite
it.
textured as
and
well,
textured.
which is really nice. This is done somebody in South Africa, and I bought it in Cape Town, and there were two people, and I think this is the woman, and she's called Zifo Pauser. We'll put it in the notes because I might have got
Well, I think it's
wrong.
amazing you even remember that, to be
Well,
quite honest.
I really, really love it, and I
It's
think
gorgeous.
it's really gorgeous.
And that's not scary. That's my point.
No.
I don't think anyone would feel scared about having that in their home, especially with some, lovely flowers in it to soften it even more.
Yes.
It can be used in a way that isn't scary.
Totally, completely. Funnily enough, though, I don't have it in this house. Didn't have it much in my last house.
But that's not because you're scared of colour. If
No.
anyone's... that's not you. It's just chance that you
Yes, and I just don't think this house quite works with it. But really, I could do my dining... Oh, I could do my dining room
There
downstairs.
we go. Let's go. As
Yes.
soon as this is finished. We've got the paint downstairs. We'll do it. So let's go back to its artistic history as a colour. And you've already sort of mentioned the art and lacquer. Tell us more about that and where that came about.
Well, the whole Chinese thing of doing lacquerware, which was this highly polished, beautiful with layers and layers and layers of clear lacquer and coloured lacquer. And that is fabulous. They're made with resins. Beautiful.
Well, we've spoken about that on the Empress Silk podcast. Similar
Exactly.
process, well, same process, different colour. Yeah. Okay.
But I'd like to talk about the hand-painted wallpapers because that is something that I think we've all know about. We may not have seen, and there are lots of things which you have seen similar things to it. You might have seen it on very lovely painted hand screens, and you might have seen, well, you will have seen beautiful kimonos and that sort of thing as well, and they're often in really lovely bright yellows and what have you.
So correct me if I'm wrong, it was kind of developed and made popular in Asia and China.
Yeah.
And it was then exported, and you've said here, in large quantities from the Yunnan province to Europe for use by Renaissance artists.
Oh, yes.
And that's where this wallpaper came in? No. Okay. No.
So that would have been used by artists.
Yeah.
So artists would have been using orpiment.
The actual pigment.
The actual pigment. But no, what I'm talking about is the colours that came in, and they would have been commissioned in Britain or Europe from China.
I see. Okay,
so
right.
The hand-painted wallpaper would have come in, all painted. Can you imagine?
I mean...
No pressure for the wallpaper hanger.
Yeah, can you imagine? Whoops, bit too much paste on that one. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, missus.
We'll just paint over that. Put a picture there. Cover that bit. So that's amazing. I mean, to commission something from the other side of the world...
Yes.
Without technology and imagery, how does that even work? I suppose they just were happy to have whatever they were given, I guess.
I think probably they would have said, I want a blue background, I want a yellow background, or whatever it was.
Amazing.
And so there must have been some sort of way of working. They would have got samples.
Yeah.
But yes, there was no turning back and going, I don't like it, sorry.
No, absolutely not. So it was made for export to the West because it was so sought after and it was rare.
Yes.
And
very, very expensive. This is not, your little house down the road.
No.
These would be for the big country homes.
And the royal family?
Probably
is there
the royal
a link
family.
to that
Yes,
in
there
this?
is a royal family.
Yeah.
In Britain, yeah.
But wasn't there a risk of importing this colour using this pigment with the toxicity and the...
I think once it's used, it's on there. I don't think so.
It didn't start a world plague from exporting yellow.
No
good.
problem at all.
Tell us then about these images. You're dying to show, I can see.
I just find them utterly, utterly gorgeous. I'm not a great... I think these images... The debased versions of them, I do not like. Mm-hmm. The image of sort of funny little Chinesey figures and stuff. I don't know. But these are so exquisite. And they're full of little birds and everything's different. There'll be...
Branches, trees, leaves, birds. Yeah. It's very English countryside in a way.
It is in a way, except the trees are all...
Yeah. But I can see it working in these homes within the English countryside.
Yes, there is something about it which works so beautifully.
So what is it you love about them?
Well, the colours and the delicacy of it.
Yes.
This one, and you talked about that, this is in the Brighton Pavilion, which was lived in and designed and decorated. It was the Prince of Wales, who was later George IV, and he loved this whole Oriental thing, and he made this house. His father was the king for ages, and so he could spend loads and loads of money and having a wonderful time. He was quite a naughty king. He received this as a gift actually, and he loved it, and he just had...
I love this fact.
It's amazing, isn't it? And it was one of 162-foot long room with all these papers along.
That's going to send him back a bob or two, isn't it? I mean, oh
well,
my
I think he was
gosh.
given it.
No, but he was given it, and then he commissioned the whole thing, and crikey.
Well, he'd already, I think.
Wow. I mean, he's not short of a bob or two.
No, but that house, I mean, it's not. It's in the middle of Brighton, so if anybody wants to
I was
go
going
and
to
see
say,
it,
can
it
you
is
go?
beautiful.
Okay.
Yes, it's one of my favourite
Right,
buildings.
okay.
Because it is insane, absolutely insane. Now, one of the things about it is that it actually faded over time. So I've got this image of it where that is what it looks like now. So it's quite pale.
So it's for people listening, not watching. It's almost like a picture has been hung.
Yes.
And then taken away, and you're left with a rectangular shape of English yellow, for want of a better colour use, and then around it a much more faded yellowy white, I suppose.
Yeah.
But I love that too. I think that makes it exciting.
Yeah, it really is. I haven't shown you the picture of Belton House, which I do have, and it is gorgeous. I'll show you that to you later. And then this is a wonderful thing that I found too, which I didn't know much about it, but it was something that belonged to the Consuelo, Duchess of Marlborough, who was the American, one of the Vanderbilts. And I found this, and it's just amazing. And I love the fact it's on an orange background.
Yes.
And these little figures and houses and figures in various ways. And that yellow again in there. It's just amazing.
So used a lot in murals, wallpapers, large-scale artwork.
Yeah, yeah.
And what I love about that is it looks absolutely perfect from a distance. But if we go back to that image with the fading...
Yes.
You can tell that has been hand painted, because when you look up close, you can see the brush strokes, you can see the imperfection in it, and I think that is what it's all about.
I think it is, and that's probably why when you look at modern versions, it's all too perfect,
Too crisp
and clean, and there isn't that sort of history and a person. You know, the idea of a brushstroke.
I know.
Where you see it's light and heavy, and that's what it's
I'm
about.
having this exact discussion at the moment, as a side note, about I've potentially being commissioned to do a massive mural in someone's home.
Wow.
And their ideas are very crisp and perfect, and the imagery is from the internet, and it's a wallpaper mural which has been printed on one of these massive machines, and they're huge panels of wallpaper. That's not realistic for hand painting, because with that you've got to have the imperfection and the slight wonkiness.
Yes.
I mean, it will be perfect to a certain extent, but I think for me it's all about the beauty of someone doing it by hand.
Yes, and it will come alive that way. If it's flat, it will look like wallpaper. If you want it to look like wallpaper, I think buy wallpaper.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's the thing about wallpaper. It's flat and it's repeated. With you can do a little bit more water in the brush. And so you get a bit of a pooling of darker, and then lightly, and as it fades away. And that's the beauty.
I think so.
And I think that idea of flat paint is to do with people getting used to things which are sprayed on. I know. It's flat.
And it's got its place. It really does. But I think it doesn't have much life to it.
Yeah, I don't know where it's got its place, but anyway.
Well, yeah, I know. I suppose the ease of doing it. And
oh, yes.
Not everybody is going to have the confidence to paint their walls.
No.
You've just painted your walls in your downstairs loo, which is fantastic, and more people should have the confidence to do that, because it's joyful and it's fun. But I understand why people don't.
But the flatness, I mean, I have an orange table here, but it's not flat.
No.
It's got darker bits and lighter bits, and that, for me, is what makes it come alive.
And do you think that's a trait of your paint?
Well,
even if you paint a piece one colour, say you paint a piece English yellow, will it be the same all over?
You can make it the same all over. You can.
But you can also make it
I
varied.
believe that it is nicer when it isn't just flat.
I completely agree, but it's just nice to hear
That's
you
chalk
articulate
paint.
it, because you can do the flat finish, you can do that one colour all over look, or you can water it down in places, you can blend in a few other colours here and there, or whites, and it gives it a little bit more character.
Yeah.
And
English yellow, I think, is one of the colours. Well, all colours will look better, but English yellow, I think, if it does have that sort of darker and lighterness about it. I want to talk about making English yellow darker.
Okay.
But yes,
we
you
will
talk about that.
But this cushion that's in front of us is a design you've painted.
Yeah,
I love it.
It's a painting, actually, I did, and it's all done with potato prints.
Of course.
And I did it on the bright yellow, which was very important because I did it during COVID, and I found that that bright yellow was really important to make something that was going to fizz.
Demonstrate optimism as well. And my next question was going to be, if you're using English yellow, we've spoken about the vase here with the white and the kind of browny graphite colour. This cushion's a great example of which other colours to use alongside it or in combination. So talk to us about the colours you've chosen to use here.
Well,
There's probably not much, it's probably subconscious again. You probably haven't had a science to it, but you do it well. So why have you chosen these colours?
I don't think I realised, but I've actually done, it's complementary, which is purple, which I hadn't realised until you went.
It's subconscious,
I've
always.
done that, yeah. Well, it's what it needs, because, the complementaries are about balance, aren't they? So it's the opposite because it's the balance. So I've used this two sort of purpley colours, a deep bluey purple and more of a reddy purple, and I've got more in the leaves there, and I've got a bit of right red to sort of go mad and crazy, and a bit of green, those colours. There's a funny thing about yellow and green. Do you like yellow and green?
Oh, that's a question I haven't been asked in a while. I don't know. Yes, I do, I think. Yeah, I don't see why I wouldn't.
No, it seems that they partner well and a lot. I find that sometimes I've got to be very careful about the green and the yellow.
Why? It becomes a little insipid, or?
I think it can be a bit acidy. I don't know if that's
going back to that mural, or the hand-painted wallpaper, in that house in Brighton, that's yellow and green.
Beautiful.
And that's just not at all too much, or it's gorgeous.
The right green, the right yellow.
Yeah, okay, it's about the
and
right.
So I think it's the right balance. And actually that yellow is quite soft. And sometimes that yellow may not have been orpiment. It might have been something called gamboge, which is a resin. But I mean, it doesn't matter which it was.
No. And when people are making paint these days, you might not want to answer this question. Yeah. What's the pigment for this sort of yellow nowadays? Is it still orpiment, or is it something completely different?
Nothing to do with orpiment. Okay. I mean, I think orpiment is now only ever
null and
used
void.
Only by someone having to do something for a Renaissance painting. Because it's so poisonous. It just wouldn't be used at all.
You would not be a good employer if you were asking people to mix orpiment.
I would not be allowed to.
No.
So every paint is made with colours that are completely safe, all the pigments, and that's more or less worldwide now. You would not, you cannot believe the care that goes into all the lawmaking. It wouldn't be, no chance.
No, that would make a very boring episode to talk about it, but I'm just interested because how it comes.
And you can get all sorts of yellows and pigments nowadays, and some of them still are not greatly safe, but you're told that. But certainly anything we do is completely safe. But it's really interesting because I always put the complementary in my colours so that I don't use black. Now, do you know what happens when you add black to yellow?
Black to yellow, what would happen there? Well, I don't think it would be a very successful mix, but no, I don't know the answer.
Well, if you've got a yellow like this, which is more on the greeny side rather than orange, you add black to it, something weird thing happens, I think. It goes green.
Right.
I mean, you can use that.
So it could be used to your advantage.
It could be, but you have to know it. But if you were saying, I'll put some black in it to darken it.
Yes.
No.
Right. So how would you darken English yellow if you just wanted to take it back a bit? Blue? Purple?
Complementary. Always add the complementary because the complementaries make black.
Yeah.
So instead of adding black to it, you add the complementary. So you add, and I still marvel at it when I add purple to a little bit of yellow, and so you get this sort of deep it's a particularly deep sort of dark browny, yellowy. It's just dark yellow.
And a tiny amount of the darker colour.
Yeah,
So in this
yeah.
case, a small amount of purple.
Yes.
Which, because it dominates otherwise.
Well, this is one of the colours that isn't very strong, although it's a primary colour and it seems strong and it hits you in the eye. It actually, as a pigment, it doesn't have a lot of
a bit
power.
like similar to a white. It's this
it
weak,
doesn't have power.
not doing it a disservice because it's not a weak colour, but I know what you're saying. Yeah. I love this idea of you recommending places to visit linked to what we're talking about. And we've spoken about Brighton Pavilion. Are there any other 18th century country houses where people might be able to go and find some of these examples of hand-painted wallpaper?
Yes. So apart from Belton in Lincolnshire, it's near Grantham, which is just gorgeous. There's Erdig in North Wales.
Wrexham,
yes. And another one in Devon.
Saltram.
Saltram in Devon. And I think that's near Plymouth.
Somewhere right down there in Devon.
Right down, yeah.
Right down there.
Well, you know that part of the world.
Yeah. That was a Devon accent, by the way, for anyone wondering. Yeah.
So that's in England, and I know that we've got people from all over, and they're probably going to write to me and say, but there's another one here, and they're everywhere in their countries.
Well, presumably many in China. If someone wanted to go somewhere further afield.
I wasn't thinking of that. I don't think hand-painted wallpaper was a thing they did.
No, but didn't it come from there?
Yeah, but it's things that were commissioned.
Made there.
It's not, they would commission. There's a whole world of Europe commissioning stuff from a country that would make it, but they didn't use it.
Okay, yeah, no, that's a really valid point. Yeah,
didn't do that. That was not the way they lived.
It was more about the fact they had strong industry and makers and
and abilities, but they wouldn't have had wallpaper. I don't think. Well, not in the same way. They would have done it in a different way. They wouldn't have had this very busy.
No,
the whole thing that they were doing was not the same. They would have done probably one bamboo bush or a tree. I mean, or one crane. Chinese art was very, very different and very sparse.
Well, I suppose that is what a commission is. You're the person doing it, but you're commissioning it for someone, so you cater it towards their country, their tastes and whatever. Okay, excellent.
I was thinking of Europe, and there's probably loads in Europe. The one I do know about is in Malmaison in Paris, which is Napoleon and Josephine's house, which anyway everyone should go, because that is also a neoclassical house. It is just wonderful. Everything's painted, so much painted. There's some yellow rooms and there's yellow covers as well. There's yellow everywhere, and lots of all that neoclassical gorgeousness with spears and shields and lots of symmetry.
Permission to book a ticket to
Oh,
France.
please go. I mean, I'm always telling people to go there. It's slightly out of Paris, so you have to get it's a big of a journey.
No, that sounds really lovely.
Gorgeous. Yeah. So several places there, and I'm sure there are more. I just don't know about them. But if anybody does, please tell me, because I'd love to know. Yeah.
Now, at the beginning of the episode, you hinted at some naughtiness coming up. So I'm itching to know, and I know other people will be too, as the finale of the episode, what is the naughtiness you've been wanting to talk about?
Well, I don't know if you can take this.
Oh, I don't know. I'm very naive and innocent, so probably not.
Well, it's actually from the 1890s, and it sort of revolves around people like Aubrey Beardsley. And I don't know if anybody knows about him, but he was an amazing illustrator, beautiful stuff. But he was a bit naughty.
Yeah, well, I think the key is illustrator. So he was drawing and
and very sort of Art Nouveau. Gorgeous, long, wavy and curly lines. But he did get into some quite very sexually provocative ideas. He was gay, and he was doing all of that sort of thing. But actually the whole thing was out there. And he did a series of magazines, quarterly novels, whatever they were, with lots of illustrations, and not novels, they were quarterly magazines.
Yeah, a bit like the Colourist.
Just like
used
the
to be.
Colourist,
Yeah.
exactly like the Colourist. And
Oh, well, actually, no. Let's just rewind a bit. Not exactly the same as the
not
Colourist.
exactly.
No, anyway.
And so his, and they were yellow. The covers were yellow, and that's because yellow became the byword. So there were paintings where there would be some gorgeous girl lying on a sofa. There was one by Raymond Casas, and she would be lying on a sofa, on a green sofa, with a yellow book, and that would indicate that she was possibly available. She was being a bit naughty, a bit saucy.
I love the word saucy. I'm so glad you
Saucy,
used it.
yes, I did that just for you.
Yeah.
Saucy and decadent, I suppose. It was just up for
Risque.
some fun, bit
Up for
risque.
some fun. Oh my gosh. This episode, I mean, and what was the worst of all?
Cosmopolitan.
Oh my gosh.
That's the word that I found was amazing.
Yes.
So they thought that these people might be a bit cosmopolitan in either, just
Okay.
knowing people who are not just your normal neighbours.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, English yellow, it's a wonderful colour, but gosh, has it got some history behind it, which
Yes.
I just love. I think it makes it so much more exciting, and I love how English yellow sounds so quaint,
delightful,
and gorgeous. And
yeah.
then
But
there's all this grit behind it. I love it.
Yeah, and I think yellow does have that. It's a bit dangerous.
So when you do a piece for this episode, I'm going to make a special request here for some risque, saucy imagery. I think the world needs to see it.
Me?
Yes, exactly. Well, I'm naive and innocent, obviously, but yeah, I think you.
I
could
think it's
do
down
it.
to you. You're a man
Just
of
a
the
little
world.
bit, or something very cosmopolitan. You could do that.
Something cosmopolitan.
Shock the world. But it's been so interesting finding out about this colour, and yeah, as research goes and reading your notes goes, this has been the most exciting so far because I just wasn't expecting it at all. I really wasn't. So yeah, thank you for sharing.
Oh, I'm absolutely delighted.
And if anyone wants to do more research, we've given them a few little teasers for people to search. So it's been really, really exciting. Is there anything else you'd like to say about English yellow? Apart from go and buy a tin.
Well,
Because it is wonderful.
we not really. We haven't that much talked about the colours go with yellow.
No.
And that
So,
we did a bit on
yeah.
here. Which bringing it back down to a bit of seriousness, because
yes.
I do think people find it difficult to decorate with yellow. I think whites look amazing and creams with all of this. I just love them. I don't know.
Yeah,
how they
I'm
do that.
imagining a very light contemporary home. I mean, obviously there's many other ways to use yellow, but I'm imagining for a sort of person out there who might be wanting to experiment with yellow, a very light, modern, crisp home. I think introducing English yellow into that in terms of a small piece of furniture or a stool or a vase or whatever, I think that's going to work because it's going to work with the whites and it's bright and it's light and uplifting. So if you've got that sort of home, I think that's easy. But there's other types of homes as well.
And I think it will go really beautifully in a neoclassical interior. And so there's that idea of the creams, the yellows and the golds, maybe even a little bit of black, or not black, to a dark grey, which is a bit this sort of thing. And I think that would be, in fact, that's what I'm probably going to do.
Oh,
To make
I
it
wanted something naughty.
That's for you to do.
Okay, I'll take it.
You can do the piece, the Aubrey Beardsley piece, where there's a little
it wouldn't be
Cupid.
posted. It would be banned from
It'll-
Instagram.
A little Cupid powdering
Oh, I love
the
this
lady's
one.
bottom.
Okay, all right. Am I allowed to
quite-
do
I
that?
think
I'll
so.
do that one then. But you mentioned gold with yellow.
Yeah.
I think I know the answer. Why does that work? Why is that an easy way in? If you've got gold and introducing
right
yellow
gold.
to that.
Yellows and gold. I mean, it's all harmonious,
Exactly.
isn't it?
Okay, that's
It's
what I
just
thought
the-
was the answer.
Yeah.
But that's a really good way of someone looking around their home and saying, okay, I do have quite a lot of gold,
Yeah.
but in whatever capacity. So therefore, introducing a bit of yellow is going to work because it'll live in harmony with the gold and the yellow.
And sort of grey blues as well. I'm just thinking there is a whole school of German neoclassical architecture, which I had completely forgotten about, which is I've only just remembered.
Yellow and grey, actually.
Yellow
Yeah,
and grey
it's
is lovely. Yeah.
I think I've mentioned this before on a previous episode. It's sort of, for me, it killed it because it was too much. It was everywhere. There was yellow and grey everywhere. Wallpaper, Laura Ashley stuff that I used to work with Laura Ashley, and it was just like, oh gosh, not yellow and grey again.
That's
so for me, it
interesting.
maybe died a little bit, but I think I'm ready to
Yeah.
rediscover that.
Well, it probably was a bit beigey cut. I mean, not necessarily, but I think it needs a little bit of the darker grey.
So which
it up.
one of your greys would work
Well,
with
Whistler
English
grey.
yellow?
Whistler
Right.
grey would be
Yeah.
dynamite.
Now we're talking, because it's a dark
You could have
grey.
you could have a Whistler grey piece with yellow on it.
And Whistler Greys are quite a bluey grey, so
It
it
is.
works with the complementary kind of
Well, the
tone.
complementary of yellow is purple, actually.
I know, similar.
But you can go purpley.
Yeah, purpley
okay,
blue.
You're allowed.
Yeah, okay, I will. Well, thank you again. I think this has been a fantastic episode, and it's given me inspiration to use it in different ways, which I think is always really important. So thank you, and we will see you next time.
Yeah. So thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.